Good morning. Give me a couple of seconds to get everything set up for us to go live. Good morning. Good morning. All right. As you all come on, go ahead and share where you are joining from. I don't know about you, but it is cold. It is cold where I am today. It snowed over the weekend. Really, it started snowing yesterday. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen, but it happened. And it's freezing. And I also know that for a lot of you, this is a day off. So I am sure that some of you will catch the replay, but I'm going to give you a second to hop on. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I had mentioned earlier in my stories that, I was up today. I was going to be committed to this, but that I was tired. And I am going to keep going. The 7 a.m. videos, getting up, getting ready. I start my days at 4 a.m. already. So getting on the camera at 7 is it's becoming a thing. I think I'm enjoying it. I think I like it here. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining. I see you in the chat. As you all pop on this morning, feel free to hit that button and share this live video with other people and women in your community that could benefit from what we're talking about today. We are in part 5 of the Elevating Your Executive Presence series. This is part 6. I'm sorry, this is part 6, day 6, because we went all 5 days last week. We started off by me telling you what executive presence is and what it actually is not. And we continued on this journey, really unpacking these 4 principles. But before I hop into that, and before I hop into what we're talking about today, I do want to introduce myself for those of you who are watching, whether live or on the replay, and you were like, who is this woman? Well, I'm Carlisha Bradley. I'm the founder and CEO of Amplify for Women. I am a high performance women's leadership coach, and my work has impacted over 9,000 women in 23 countries. I have led startup organizations, nonprofit organizations, public schools. I've run the gamut of leadership opportunities and have channeled all of that into the executive leadership coaching that I provide, while also running a nonprofit organization that provides international exposure, mentorship, and leadership development to Black girls around the world. So I have worn a lot of hats. In addition to those roles, I'm a mom of 3 under 4. Okay, I have twins and I have a 4-year-old toddler, soon to be 5. And I'm also a wife and a daughter and a friend and so many other things that we do in this life and run on this race and journey. But one thing that just lights me up, I know that it is a part of God's divine purpose for my life. It is to support women in amplifying their voices, in building their leadership trajectory to leave a lasting impact on this world. I do that through the path of compelling communication. I support leaders, social impact organizations, startup leaders in how they elevate the voice and the story of the work that they do. I help women grow on their path to be paid public speakers and also to showcase their business and career potential through how they're able to articulate their value. So, those are just a few of the things about me. I mentioned to you that we are going to hop into part 6. And today's topic is about the fact that you do not need a script. You do not need a script for public speaking. I know for most of you, that sounds scary. Like, why in the world would I go up to the mic without a script for what I'm about to say? But I am going to tell you what to use instead that is going to skyrocket your ability to connect. It will enhance your confidence as you're presenting. and connect you in ways that you have never connected with an audience before. But first, I'm going to give you a little bit of story time. So, I was getting ready for a keynote speaking engagement. And for me personally, I am a speaker, and I encourage all of you when you're getting ready to talk to an audience to understand who your audience is. Speak to the person who's organizing the event to get more of the background context, to plan out the ways that your presentation can connect with your audience. And I was speaking to an audience of women who predominantly did not look like me. Okay. But I was also really interested in showcasing authenticity and taking advantage of the fact that this is an audience that doesn't look like me, does not necessarily have my shared background or experience, but I wanted to find powerful ways to connect with this audience. And I took the 4P framework that I use and coach on and amplify for women that I support my clients in growing and building their speaking careers with. I took it and utilized this exact framework for my keynote speaking engagement. Now, again, the audience, they did not look like me. It was mainly older Caucasian women. But in this presentation, as scared as I was to get up on this stage and to stand in my truth, to showcase my values, to share stories from my lived experience, to do all of those things that I mentioned to you about executive presence, I stood up there with full authenticity. I spoke of my lived experience growing up in a predominantly white environment. And I told a story up there that I had never really told anywhere else before. I was flowing with the storytelling on stage at the moment, but I unpacked the fact that me growing up as an African American here in the United States, there was always this deeper longing as a child for me to know where I was really from, right? There were kids in my classes who could say, "Oh, my family is from Ireland," or "We immigrated over here from England in such and such years," or "We're from Puerto Rico, Cuba," wherever. People in my classes could tell where their ancestry was from. And I always sat in class, I'm like, well, the furthest I can go is Louisiana. Like I don't know anything else. And I made this point to really illustrate as I'm in this presentation speaking heavily about race and just gender and the impact throughout my leadership trajectory. I highlighted this point in telling the fact that many people write off and say, that was so long ago. Why does it even matter? But I chose to share this peek into my childhood and that confusion that carried me through into deeper, more rich, connective activities that were available to me when I finally did get to go to the continent of Africa, and why that was so meaningful to me, but where there's still this gap in my identity and a longing to really know where my roots are. So I'm sharing this story, and the audience is just eating up my presentation, the stories that I'm sharing, the ways that I'm connecting. And it is over. And of course, the few Black women in the audience came up and they were like, "Oh, you saw me. I'm so glad that you came. You were here today. I felt seen. I felt heard." But what I could not imagine and what I did not expect is that there were several women of other backgrounds who came up to me, and one in particular with tears just filling her eyes. And she said to me, "I have never been able to deeply connect the past to its impact like that on the ways in which history plays a part in the longing for connection and identity for kids even today." It's so easy to write that off as that was a long time ago. Things have changed, but the generational impact lives on. And she just started bawling because it finally clicked for her. It's the power of telling our stories. It's something that I touched on with you all when I shared those three truths about you, about the fact that, you may be someone who's sitting here and you're saying, "Carlisha, but like my stories, they don't matter as much as people want these hard-hitting facts and information. They don't matter as much." But the fact is, the reason why you need a script is because that's the nuts and bolts of your presentation. You've scripted it all out. Nothing is personal because you feel that those data points are more significant than the storylines. You might also be a perfectionist, whether you are a recovering perfectionist, you're trying to step out there, but you feel like having a script and having Chat GPT give you all the fancy words to say is going to make you seem more polished and more professional. But sis, I have to tell you that that is not true. That's not true. We have all sat through those presentations where somebody is up there reading line for line from a piece of paper. And sometimes in those situations, I'm like, can you just pass out the packet? Because I could read that myself. You do not want to be that speaker. I am sharing these touch points for you. Of us going back to what executive presence really is for me to articulate what this better tool is for you and how to use it in your storytelling. So, really quick recap on what executive presence is. It is confidence. It is the way in which you communicate, your ability to articulate your value, your expertise. It's connection. What we're talking about today is heavy on connection. This is your ability for people to know who you are. And lastly, is your character. Character and connection are deep in storytelling because what the stories that people share and the nuggets that you want for people to take away from that, that gives me the lens into what you value, who you really are. Are you my person? Are you the type of person I want to do business with, invest in, to book for further engagements? Do I trust you? Right? So, the reason why storytelling is a better tool than a script, number one, is because it's memorable, not just for your audience. I'm talking about for you. There is no one who can tell your story better than you. No one. And a key part of the work that I do, whether it's with one on one clients for our VIP days, supporting you in building your keynote, or through programs like our Elevate cohort that brings together groups of women for leadership, public speaking, and career development. One thing that I find to be critical in this is understanding why your story matters and how to package it to influence teams, to influence audiences, to grow your brand, business, and career. No one can tell your story better than you. Number two reason why storytelling is better than your script is because it leaves opportunity for connection. People long to know more about who you are. They want to know who you are before they want to know what you do, right? That ability to connect, it comes in through storytelling. And another point in storytelling why it's better than a script is because stories make your content more digestible when you can have a story to capture that key point with. So for some of you, all that you might remember from this video today is when I told that story and the woman coming up to me with tears in her eyes about how it finally clicked for her. The aha moment, the deeper why of my presentation and the connection that it made was something that she will probably never forget. The storytelling components make these complex concepts. Everything that I'm listing out to you right now is what I already reflected to you in the story that I told. It makes it more digestible and easier for people to remember. Next is that storytelling taps into authenticity. There is nothing more freeing than getting to walk up on a stage and show up in the fullness of your identity. And it allows for you not to be so in your head with, okay, how do I say that? How should I be talking? Who do I need to impress in this moment? When you're able to show up with authenticity, it also leads to inspiration for other people to do the same. And it makes it easier for you to adapt while you're speaking. If I'm telling a story, I can make my story 5 minutes. I can scrunch that story into 30 seconds if I have to, but I could also spell that out into a 30-minute walk through this experience. When you are able to adapt with your presentation, you can flow with understanding your audience. Where are they? Are they starting to pull out their cell phones and, scroll on the internet? You've lost them. Are they leaning in because they cannot wait to hear the next thing that you say? So you choose to draw it out a bit more and tell more detail. That is how you are able to utilize storytelling to provide a powerful, powerful presentation that's not just full of data and numbers and all of the facts. Of course, we want some of that, but also feel the moment to bring in who you are because of our three truths. The first one is that your experience, stories, and insights, they matter. That there's number two, untapped potential in your speaking abilities. You're withholding your expertise. There's untapped potential in that. And three, you have what it takes to monetize that untapped potential, whether it is through paid public speaking, whether it is through being able to articulate your value to get the job or the promotion, whether it is through being able to speak about your business in a compelling way that attracts funders and investments. You have what it takes. So today we unpacked why you do not need a script and what you need instead, which is stories and storytelling weave within your presentation to build your confidence, to build your connection and your clarity in the vision of what you are trying to deliver. So, if you have missed any part of this series, I encourage you to go back and check it out. It is available on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And I would also love to talk more about how we could work together on building out a powerful storyline for you, keynote speech, or for you to have the opportunity to join the waitlist to be a part of our group coaching program, the Elevate cohort. If you're interested in learning more information, shoot me a DM so that we can connect and schedule a time to talk about your goals, to see what you need as next steps, and to see if I'm a good fit for you and if you're a good fit to work with Amplify for Women. So it has been great to have you all join this morning. I will be sure to get this replay up for those of you who joined a little bit late. I hope that you stay warm and enjoy the rest of your day. Talk to you all tomorrow. Same time, same place. See you there.